Hey, New Yorkers, let's talk about something big that just went down in the Bronx. This isn't just another headline or a fleeting news story. This is something that's got the whole city talking, and for good reason. If you spent any time near the hub area, you know there's been a park there, kind of infamous, honestly, for being a hotspot for open drug use and sales. It's the kind of place that's become almost a symbol of the city's struggles with addiction and public safety. This hasn't been some new development. We're talking decades of the same story. Generations have watched this park go from a community space to a cautionary tale, and back again, always hoping for real change. But this week, everything changed. The kind of change that makes you stop and wonder if this is finally the turning point everyone's been waiting for. City officials, 2 deputy mayors, and the NYPD showed up and, no joke, closed the park off completely. It wasn't just a quiet decision made behind closed doors. It was a public, coordinated effort. That's right. Fences up. Nobody in or out. Overnight, a place that had been open to everyone, good or bad, was suddenly off limits. For a lot of people, this is a huge relief. You could almost feel the tension lift in the air, like the neighborhood could finally breathe again. Parents who just wanted a safe place for their kids. Commuters who got off the train and had to walk through a minefield of things nobody should see on their way home. This is a big deal. For years, people have been forced to look the other way. But now, maybe they won't have to. Bronx Representative Richie Torres has been relentless about cleaning up this area. He's been out there, talking to residents, pushing City Hall, and refusing to let this issue fade into the background. If you've followed his work, you know he's been pushing for change, and now, he's finally seeing some traction. It's not just about closing a park. It's about showing that the community's voice actually matters. For years, people living nearby have been saying, "Why can't someone do something?" And now, someone actually has. It's a rare moment when city action lines up with what residents have been demanding for so long. But let's be real. Closing a park isn't the end of the story. It's just the first chapter in what needs to be a much bigger conversation about public health, safety, and community investment. It's a bold step, sure, but what comes next? Will the city follow through with real support, or will this just be a temporary fix? Are we just moving the problem somewhere else? Or are we finally ready to tackle the root causes that led to this crisis in the first place? Or is the city actually going to invest in real solutions, like treatment, housing, and jobs? Because if we don't address those, the cycle just keeps repeating. These are the questions bouncing around in my head, and I know I'm not the only one thinking about what real change would look like here. Still, I've got to admit it feels different this time. There's a sense of urgency, a sense that maybe, just maybe, the city is finally listening. The city didn't just send a memo, they showed up in force. It was a show of commitment, and maybe even a promise that things won't go back to the way they were. This is more than a policy tweak. It's a signal that the city is willing to take bold action, even if it's controversial. A message that people who've been ignored for too long are finally getting attention. For once, the spotlight is on the people who actually live here, not just the problems. If you live in NYC, you know how complicated these issues are. There's no easy answer, and every neighborhood has its own story. It's never black and white. Every decision has ripple effects, and sometimes the solutions create new challenges. But for folks in the Bronx, especially around the hub, this moment means hope. Hope that things can get better, that their voices are finally being heard. Hope for families, hope for local businesses, and hope that the city hasn't forgotten about them. It's a reminder that change is possible, even if it's slow. So what do you think? Is this the kind of action we need more of, or is it just a band-aid on a much bigger wound? Was this the right move? Should the city have done this sooner? Or is there a better way forward? Will it make a difference? Or will we be back here in a year, talking about the same problems in a different place? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear your stories. Tell me what you've seen, what you hope for, and what you think the city should do next. And if you're new around here, don't forget to hit subscribe. We're building a community that cares about what happens in our city. I'll be following up with what happens next, because this story is far from over. There's a lot more to uncover, and I'll be right here to break it down for you. Stay safe out there, New York. The city's watching, and so am I. Let's keep this conversation going, because real change starts with all of us.